Hello and welcome to this edition of Two Talk. I hope you enjoyed your summer break. I know I have, and now it's time to get back into the grind. So welcome you back. Joining me today is our new police chief, Mike Register. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And very interesting story. This is not your first time here in Cobb.
No, sir. No.
So why don't you tell the folks a little bit about, you were here before and now you're back.
Well, I left in 2005 after about 20 years here and worked in a variety of positions. And in 2005, I wound up, after I left, up in the Washington, D.C. area. I worked at a government agency running a program that addressed the IED, the improvised explosive device issues that we were having
Well, you spent
globally.
time over in the Gulf, right?
Certainly. I spent 23 years in the military, special operations with the 11th and 20th Special Forces Group, combat operations in Afghanistan. And actually, some of the programs that I worked on in Afghanistan kind of led me to what I did ultimately in D.C. for 8 or 9 years. And then in 2014, I came back to the Georgia area as a deputy chief, and
Clayton. That was down in Clayton County.
Clayton County, and then soon after that, about 6 months, I was voted in as the chief, and then this opportunity came to return to Cobb County. Great community, great department.
And Cobb is your home.
It's my home.
Right.
It certainly feels like I have come back home full circle.
Well, welcome back.
Well, thank you.
So, so let's talk a little bit about, folks have seen a lot about the police, and so what are some of the things that we have a great police force here in Cobb.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the initiatives that you'd like to put in place?
Well, we do have a great police department, great command staff. We are currently doing so many things. It seems like in this past month since I've been back, we've put a lot of things in place. One, we've got a faith forum.
Tell folks a little bit, what exactly is a faith forum?
Faith forum is where we are going to meet with the institutions of faith here in the Cobb County area, and we're going to have a conversation about issues that involve law enforcement, the community, and we're going to partner, hopefully, with the institutions of faith to find solutions for some of the issues, and also use the institutions of faith here to be a conduit between us and the community, or one of the conduits.
Well, and that kind of goes a long way with one of your really big desires, and that's there's a big discussion about community policing.
Yeah.
And I know that when we had our interviews and all that, you spoke a lot about your desire to really kind of get the police officers out in the community and have a really good dialogue.
Well, certainly, I think that one of my major priorities here certainly is more community engagement, more partnership, and we've done that not only through the faith forum with the institutions of faith, but we're also creating a precinct discussion group where each precinct commander will meet bi-monthly with some of the community stakeholders to have a discussion.
Yeah, and I know that Major Kwan here in Precinct 4 had asked me to give him some names of the folks to kind of build that.
Certainly. So we are doing that. We are certainly working toward developing a community affairs unit in the next few months.
And what do you see them doing?
That will be the department's conduit to the community. That officer will be responsible for two primary missions. One is quality of life, and also to make sure that we are connected with the community, helping with homeowner association meetings, neighborhood watches, creating, neighborhood watches, helping create that. If there are festivals in that precinct area, and if they want police presence, that officer will certainly coordinate so we can have static displays
So
there.
it's kind of a single person, go-to person.
It is.
Within the police department, in your precinct.
And that's the beauty of it. All the organizations in that precinct, businesses and community stakeholders, will have a name and a number to reach out to coordinate efforts or joint efforts between the police department and the community. And also, that officer will be instrumental in helping the precinct commander with some of their initiatives.
Okay. So there's been a lot of discussion. We hear it at commission meetings. Folks have about, that we have a hard time getting police officers. I mean, it's a difficult time recruiting. So let's talk a little bit about the training program that we have here at Cobb. It's very extensive. It takes, I believe, almost 49 or 50 weeks, does it not?
It is the initial training is a 26-week academy.
Okay.
And it's very thorough. And when you're training officers today, there is an art to it, because not only do you have to train them in the subject matter needed to give them the requisite tactical skills and knowledge, but also you have to teach them how to engage the community. One thing that I like to point out, that on any given day, an officer may not get into a chase or use their weapon, but what they will do every day is make decisions and communicate. And so we put a real big emphasis in the academy on helping officers communicate better. Sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it.
Well, and a lot of times that communication can be the difference between a situation kind of de-escalating and escalating.
Certainly, and you're exactly right, Commissioner. Part of the communication module is teaching de-escalation, verbal de-escalation. And also, as we teach various subjects, we also come back to the officer like the various scenarios. It's not just what they do in the scenario from a technical standpoint, but walk us through your decision making on why you chose to do that in this scenario. And I think that's very important, because after the officer gets out of the 26-week academy, then they actually go out on the street with a field training officer for another 12 weeks before they eventually, hopefully, go to solo status. So it's very comprehensive.
And I've noticed, speaking of the training and all the things, and it's amazing sometimes when we do the police awards, the incredibly different and diverse situations that your officers get into.
It is certainly a job that no 2 days are the same, no 2 calls are the same. And that's why the communication is so important. At 8 o'clock, the officer may be involved in the apprehension of an armed suspect. At 9 o'clock, the officer may be trying to calm an elderly person down that has some challenges, and we're trying to contact family members. And so there has to be a constant communication choice for the officers. And it really makes it interesting. The things that officers see. It's a very exciting career.
Well, and also some of these, when we do the awards, some of these officers, I mean, most people think of when there's a medical type emergency or whatever, that it's going to be a firefighter or a paramedic. A lot of times the police officer is the first one to the scene.
They certainly are, and our officers are trained to give very basic first aid because, certainly we want to preserve life. And if when our officers respond, again, we don't know what we actually are going to be confronted with until we get there. And certainly officers have been responsible for saving lives.
So now another big question on people's mind, of course, is those that have gone to the stadium, see how quickly they get in and out. And of course, there's those that haven't been there yet that are afraid because they think it's going to take forever to get in and out. And Lieutenant Lawrence has pretty much been, you have a single officer responsible for the entire traffic management plan. I know you've been out there yourself. So why don't you tell folks a little bit about that?
I am just amazed at what the Cobb County Police Department and Cobb County as a whole has been able to accomplish. First year that we've had the stadium, but I think we're down to the utilization of about 29 officers.
Right, down from 60, which is a huge cost savings.
It is interlaced with some of the technology that you're aware of, but getting citizens very quickly and safely into the stadium and out of the stadium and protecting them while they're there. One stat that is really telling is that with sports venues, on a national level, after the event is over. Nationally, it takes about 60, 62, 63 minutes for the last officer to be released. We are just amazed at the efficiency of our system, because we're well under that at right around 42 to 44 minutes now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've been there numerous times, and I know a lot of other folks have too. That it's even like when everyone's leaving at the same time, like after Friday night fireworks or whatever, 45 minutes and everybody's gone.
It is, and it's not just the Braves, but as you know, we've had a couple of concerts there, and they both have unique problem sets.
Right. Well, of course, in a concert, you have all 37,000 people at the exact same time leaving. Whereas a baseball game, they're kind of, well, depending on how well they're playing that day.
Yeah.
Depends on how soon people leave. Some days it's good, some days it's bad.
But the county has been very good at looking at the problem set and finding solutions for both the sports events and the other events like concerts, to make sure that we get citizens in and out very efficiently.
Okay, so back to the community person in each precinct. Where would folks find that information?
Well,
I know it's kind of getting set up, but
we will put that on. We will put that out on social media.
Okay.
Also through our PIN system.
Right.
And hopefully this will be something that this unit, the community affairs, will be a unit that we're developing now in conjunction with the command staff. How we're going to staff it, what officer is going to be, on the unit, the command structure of the unit. But hopefully, in the next 3 to 4 months, we should have it up and running, where there will be a community affairs and a quality of life officer in each precinct.
Okay. And for the folks that don't know what PENS is, police email notification system. Each precinct has it. We send out quarterly reports. For example, prior to the holidays, talking about if you go to an electronics store and you buy something, don't go to another store in a mall.
Yeah.
Take it home and drop it off. And we'll put on the screen how folks can get signed up for that. But basically, and then if there's some incident in your community or in your neighborhood, we send out an information about that.
Yes, sir.
So it's a real important way for people to be notified.
And another way that hopefully we can, when this unit is created, is by using your resources as a commissioner.
Sure, our Friday updates and
to
sure.
push that out, to make sure the citizens know who the community affairs and quality of life officer is in their district. And of course, they can still fall back on contacting the precinct commander.
Sure.
Because
right.
ultimately, we'll be facilitating that commander's engagement strategy for that precinct.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us. I know folks look forward to seeing you out on the street. I know because you're out there a lot.
Yes, sir.
And it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Well, it's been an honor to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Okay, well, that's it for this segment. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, you're going to meet the new county manager.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
French fries. Finding best potatoes.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Bowl.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
All right, welcome back. Our next guest, you've seen here before. This is not his first time here. Joining me today is Rob Hosack, which if you've watched the show a number of times, you'll remember he was here as our community development director. Well, Rob's back. This time now he's our county manager. Welcome back.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So a little bit different job.
Yes, sir, I would say it is a little bit different operationally. A lot of the same things that I remember, just a little bit more juggling of responsibilities.
Yes, a lot, yes. And well, of course, when with the previous county manager, there were some times when you were acting county manager when he was out of town. But and you know your long career here at the county, you know the folks that work here, you know how the system works, and you know you just have to put up with the changing of the guard up at the commission level. So so what's been your most interesting challenge so far?
Well, I'll tell you, Commissioner, the coming back and just trying to get used to the new normal as it relates to basically some of the things that we do now as far as our technology initiatives. I think that prior to my departure, we were really in the infancy stages of SPLOST 2016, and I think some of the most significant projects that were included in that SPLOST were some of the technology initiatives, and just kind of being able to get my arms around some of the stuff that we're going to be able to have access to now.
And even besides just the folks here at the county, I mean the citizens are going to have access to a whole lot more information and data. That's
a very good point, and I think one of the things that I've been trying to be able to figure out is how we can use all this new information, the reporting characteristics that are going to be at our fingertips, how we'll be able to do our job better, how we'll be able to manage money a little bit better, you know, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, and for that matter, on behalf of the citizens. I think one of the other things that has been taken a little getting used to is kind of some of the technological advances that are in place now that allow for folks to be able to produce reports from their cars, whether it's, you know, police officers or code enforcement officers, some of our building inspectors. I think the other thing that's really been exciting is some of the technological stuff that we're doing now. I really think is going to be able to change the way that we do business or allow folks to do business with the county. And that's going to have a significant impact on how quickly we can collect revenue and make it faster and easier for our customers to get like a business license or a business
because business
occupation
license,
tax.
they can be done online now.
Yes, sir.
And I know one of the new things that's getting ready to come on is e-agenda. So basically electronic agenda, so that right now it's almost impossible. People can download the agenda, but there's really not a lot of interaction. And then also we have the dashboards that are going to have information for folks to look at.
And I was going to say, Commissioner, that's one of the things that really and truly, to be able to know exactly what you can find out at your fingertips before, let's say, I was to go make a presentation on behalf of the board or assist you with presenting to a homeowners association or a business association. Some of this technology that we're working on implementing right now, we're going to have it at our fingertips.
Right, and that's much better for the citizens to be able to get the data. So you were here how many years the first time?
The first time around, I was here in the community development director position for almost 15 years. Prior to that, I had some other positions as well. So 27 years off and on experience-wise, 15 of which I got to be the community development director. I think that's when you and I got a chance to meet.
Yes, I know you claim to have trained me well. Starting out in the planning commission.
I'm glad you admitted it before I did, because that would have been the first thing I was going to do. Was mention to folks that we've got a good District 2 commissioner because we trained him in community development.
But remember that if I make a mistake, then it comes back to you too.
That's correct.
So you talked about money, okay? Of course, as folks know, we're coming out of the recession. The digest numbers are very strong, but there are still some challenges in dealing with the budget.
Yes, we've got some holes that we're going to be working on. We have some one-time monies that we're going to be appropriating to help us kind of fill the gaps. But I think that something that you have asked for in the past, and I think that the board has kind of embraced this year moving forward with a new chairman, is going to be how we do our budgeting a little different. And I can tell you from a staff perspective, we're kind of excited about doing that, because I think the way our process has been in the past, and this isn't a bad rap against anybody that has been here before you and I, but it's just been the process where there's usually a couple of months that folks get information and have to make some big decisions. Right. I think our new process that all of the board has kind of embraced is going to be, we get the information out to the commissioners and to the general public through the commissioners early, perhaps 6 or 7 months in advance.
Right, because the whole first part of this year, the board has been meeting with we've been having presentations by each agency or department, getting all their needs and things like that, and that kind of went into the discussion on the millage, and we'll just follow right on with the budget.
Absolutely, and I think that again, that's a first. I think that is, and it's a good thing that it's happening now, and I think it'll give a chance to staff folks as well as other elected officials to kind of describe what the needs really are. And again, what we're going to try to do as your staff is kind of put this into a document, looking at a 5-year window of time as to what needs are, what you've heard over the last 6 months, in addition to some of the things that you may be hearing as you roll this out, let's say in the early calendar months of 2018.
Right, okay. So what do you think the biggest challenge is going to be in this new job?
Well, I'll tell you this. It's going to probably be trying to keep up with all of the stuff that has happened just since I've been gone. The Braves and the Battery have been a huge change for me to deal with.
Right. But you were still here when it started.
Well, I was going to say I was here at the easy part. Everything was on paper. Versus now, we're looking at vertical construction, and we're looking at challenges related to some of the events that have happened at the Battery, exciting events that you and I were kind of looking after to make sure that things work the way they were supposed to work. So that's going to be, I think, a big challenge for me. Not to mention, I think that we have a much more engaged citizenry now, because I think we've done a pretty good job of trying to reach out and get information to them. So with the new information technology initiatives that we're kind of rolling out, I think we're gonna, I think that's going to be a challenge as well, is making sure that we include folks and do a good job of pushing information out for them to be able to help us make decisions as we move forward.
Now, one of the things I don't think folks understand is that, they think as a county manager that you are responsible for everything that happens in the county, and then come back to the Board of Commissioners. But there is really kind of two parts to the government. We have the part that is, under the Board of Commissioners and the county manager, but we also have all these other elected officials, the judges, the sheriff, the clerks, and things like that. So kind of tell folks a little bit about how that works.
Yes, and it is and that's probably one of the biggest changes too, is I'm happy to work with the elected officials, but this is probably the first time in my career that I've really had to directly work with them on budget issues as well as personnel issues. But going back to your question, Commissioner, the Board of Commissioners they're the elected body that really has probably the broadest range of responsibilities as far as collecting tax funds and then taking those tax funds that are collected and appropriating them to the different units of government.
Like roads and zoning and public safety.
Water and sewer, public safety initiatives, libraries, public facilities. But I think what folks may not realize is kind of that, another group of folks that run parallel to the Board of Commissioners are quote-unquote constitutional officers.
Right.
That's the sheriff of Cobb County and his current deputy. We have elected Superior Court judges, state court judges, magistrate court judges. We have prosecutorial staff in the district attorney's office as well as the Solicitor General's office. And so those particular, the Superior Court clerk,
and
the state court clerk are all elected officials, and they all play a part in delivering their mission or their objectives to the citizens that they were elected by. But ultimately, what I think is a big challenge for the county manager and the 5 Board of Commissioners is all of their requests still have to kind of come back and be intermixed. And
right, they're all part of the budget. So in essence, like when you sit down with the chairman and you create the budget, because that's how it works, the chairman and the county manager create the budget, then bring it to the commissioners, you have to allocate the money that's going to go to each one of those constitutional officers. But once it goes there, they manage it themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say we're really fortunate in Cobb County. We have a great group of elected officials.
Because there's a lot of counties where the sheriff's suing the board's suing the judges.
I was going to, that's exactly what I was going to bring up, Commissioner, is I don't think we have ever had an issue like that in Cobb County. And really and truly, in speaking to folks when I go to professional conclaves in the past, they'll talk about some of the conflict and the issues that they may have between the sheriff or the Superior Court clerk or a judge, the probate judge. I don't think we have any of those problems
I can't think
here.
of when we ever had a problem either.
That's a very big plus for us because I think the elected officials work hand in hand with us. They understand when we have budget constraints. They understand timing issues that we may have as it relates to rolling out initiatives, and they have been 100% team players.
Well, that's great. Well, I want to thank you for coming back to the show for a repeat visit. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and I look forward to continuing to work with you. Maybe I'll do a little training this time.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner.
So that's all for this edition of To Talk. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next month.